Benefit of these Sassenachs among you, trying to follow the wise words of the Speaker, here's a handy guide to the favourite expressions of Gorbals Mick. Hod yer whist ya clatty midden. Be quiet, you unkept person. You're a daft wee numpty bampot. Norman Baker MP. You're a glaikit wee bism. Kate Hoey MP. Yes, the ability to parliamo Glaswegian has become essential for those anxious to follow the twists and turns of the expenses morass. Some say Speaker Martin might even be a victim of the scandal, which is why he's in a permanent stushy. That's a bad mood to you and me. And his Glaswegian is becoming ever more impenetrable. We asked the sketch writer, Quentin Letts, to be very brave and look back at a nightmare of a week for all concerned at Westminster. We should warn you, there are no subtitles.
Receipts. Yes, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker. Anything you say, Mr. Speaker. The Daily Telegraph. Dreadful dream.
The House of Commons was in the mire over a huge scandal about expenses. That could never happen. This particular nightmare has hit everyone at the House of Commons. The Daily Telegraph accusing MPs of abusing expenses, charging us for everything from dog food to swimming pool attendance to mortgages that might not even exist. And the atmosphere at the Palace of Westminster has been a mixture of resentment and blind, gibbering panic. The Prime Minister was doing his McCavity act, but on the day stories about Conservatives hit the press, David Cameron responded quickly. He said that where his MPs had acted unethically, they would pay back the money. And from now on, Conservative MPs would only be allowed to claim for basic housing costs and the occasional dry rusk.
No more furniture, no more bath plugs, no more barbecues, no more patio heaters, no more of the things that has caused so much unease.
Ah, good morning, Gilbert. Bonjour to you. The last thing a chap needs when giving his party's image a deep wash and a scrub are headlines about public money being used to fix troublesome pipes under MPs' tennis courts or gardens that take 4 hours to mow. David Cameron grabbed hold of this issue like a man seizing a ruffian's collar. How did the Tory leader look? Well, almost prime ministerial. All this finally lured Gordon Brown out of his bunker.
It's not enough, actually, for just 1 or 2 MPs to make announcements here and there. Everybody in the public has got to be satisfied that their members of Parliament have not claimed money wrongly, so there's got to be an independent scrutiny.
Ah, Gordon, poor old sausage. Talking of which, it's breakfast. Suddenly it was payback time, MPs rushing to make amends, including the Communities Secretary. Toast, anyone?
I've decided to send to the Inland Revenue a cheque which is the equivalent of what would have been paid in capital gains tax had it been liable when I've moved flats whilst I've been an MP.
So why did you agree to pay back the money for the trouser press?
Well, precisely because I thought, although it's perfectly legitimate expenditure to go to a civic event or a constituency event looking smart, as I'm meant to do, I can see that most of my constituents don't possess a trouser press. It's slightly Alan Partridge item anyway.
I've said in the Telegraph I made a mistake about a swimming pool bill for £95 and I will repay that, and that was a genuine mistake.
When MPs assembled for Prime Minister's questions yesterday, the mood was subdued. Dresden after the bombing. The party leaders did have a scrap over expenses, but their hearts weren't really in it.
Isn't it time to wake up and see what's going on in the country? Isn't it time for us to see ourselves as the rest of the country sees us? Isn't it time to stop the talking, stop the endless committees, and start showing some real leadership to deliver some real change?
Leadership is about the whole of the political system responding to the changes that are needing to be made. And leadership is me saying to all the political parties that they've got to act now and immediately to change the system.
Watching all this from the Commons chair was that milky-eyed Solomon, that champion of MPs' entitlements, Speaker Michael Martin. What a terrible week he's had.
Is it in order to point out that many of us, I hope on all sides of the House, do feel that the bringing in of police, the Metropolitan Police, who have a huge job in London at the moment with all sorts of problems, to bring the police in to try and find out who has leaked something, is it not an awful waste of resources? And will the public not see this, whatever it's meant to be a way of hiding?
Let me answer the Honourable Lady. I listen to the Honourable Lady often when I turn on the television at midnight and I hear her public utterances and her pearls of wisdom on Sky News. And it's easy to talk then. Let me put this to the Honourable Lady and to every honourable member in this House. Is it the case that an employee of this House should be able to hand over any private data to any organisation of his or her choosing?
Next day, Labour MP David Winnock dared to suggest that Speaker Martin himself was out of order. He got a Glasgow kiss.
If it's not adequate, then the honourable gentleman knows what he must do then.
What did Mick mean? He seemed to be saying, sack me if you dare. But Labour MPs might be reluctant to lose him. He's an idiot, yes, but at least he's their idiot. And the saga continues. Today's scalps include former Minister Elliot Morley, suspended from the Parliamentary Labour Party after claiming £16,000 expenses for a mortgage he'd already paid off. And Conservative MP Andrew Mackay quit as parliamentary aide to David Cameron over what the party said was an unacceptable expenses claim. By any gauge of scandals, it's been a horrible, horrible, horrible week in the House of Commons, and all at a time when they're trying to persuade the rest of the country to accept cuts. David Cameron may think he's come out of it better, but when the public think that all MPs are at it, will they really care? Meanwhile, back in the real world, where people pay their own bills, unemployment is up, and the Bank of England has cut its growth forecast. Oh, it's far too horrid out there. I'm going back to bed. Pull the curtain, someone. Wake me up when it's all over. Oh no, I've forgotten my hobnobs. Gilbert!